This is J. Krishnamurti's first public discussion in Sanan, 1975.
I believe that we are going to have a discussion. But really, it's a conversation, a dialogue, a discussion. The meaning of that word means, I believe, according to the dictionary, argument. We're not going to argue. That is a game that can be played very efficiently in politics, in clubs, in debating societies. And a discussion implies investigating what is true among opinions. Then that can be everlastingly amusing, merely to discuss which is the most truthful opinion. But all opinions are really prejudice, and therefore they can never be true. So we're going to have together these next 5 days, every morning, if you can stand it, a dialogue. A dialogue means conversation. Conversation between friends, between two people or several people who are interested as friends, talking over things amicably, with a serious intention to find out, or rather to investigate their problems, so that at the end of that investigation, they are free of the problem, not carrying on endlessly discussing about their problems. So if you would consider what would be worthwhile to talk over together as two serious, friendly people talking over their problems, not only of the world but outside, but also inwardly. So, avanti.
Can we speak of relationship, understanding, passion, free of exclusivity?
Can we?
Free of exclusivity.
Yeah. Can we be free of this division that brings about exclusiveness? That's one subject.
Last week we were talking over about the stream of selfishness and about the possibility of stepping out of it. But evidently I or the me cannot step out of it. So what happens or what takes place when something like that is going on, one can describe as stepping out of it?
You talked the other day about the stream in which we live daily, the stream of selfishness, using that word to convey anxiety, fear, pleasure, political pressures, economic conditions, the anxieties, suffering, all included in that one word. The question is, how can that me, who is caught in that stream, step out of it? And can me ever step out of anything? What should we go on, please?
I do not find an
I have no urge to serve people or help people or society. Is there anything wrong with me?
How can I improve my tolerance against noise? I feel a physical pain when I hear noises which are not natural, as well as lots of talk.
How can I live with noise without suffering too much from noise?
How can one live suffering, related energy? And what was the question when big suffering takes energy? And how can one live with suffering if the energy is dissipated?
Parlez en français, madame. Vous parlez français? Alors parlez en français.
Je voulais demander, poser la question, comment être en relation, comment aller au-delà de la souffrance, quand la souffrance est si grande qu'elle prend toute l'énergie. Comment arriver à c'est une question d'énergie que je pose. Quand la souffrance est ici,
Ne pas souffrir.
non, quand la souffrance
Quand je souffre, je n'ai pas la force de regarder la souffrance parce que ça prend toute mon énergie. Qu'est-ce que je fais?
Je n'ai pas compris.
Lorsque la souffrance dépasse les possibilités de résistance.
When one suffers,
it takes all one's energy.
one loses all one's energy. And how is it possible not to lose that energy and to meet the suffering? Which of these questions shall we take? Relationship, the stream of suffering in which we live, and how to step out of it, and then if you do step out of it, what is the relationship, what is action in the world of reality? That is, what is the action in our daily life? And the other is noise. But that and when one suffers, it seems that one loses all energy. And having no energy, one cannot actively end suffering. C'est ça, n'est-ce pas? Now, which of these would you like to take up? Shall you take that question, and perhaps the other questions will be included in it? That is, all of us, most of us, are selfish. Selfish being, in that word we include sorrow, pain, physical suffering, and psychological suffering, anxiety, competition, greed, envy, brutality, violence, the desire for power, position, and all. In that word, we include all that. That is the word selfishness, self-centered movement. How can one step out of that stream in which we all human beings live? And if you do, if one can step out of it, what then is the action in the world of reality, in the daily existence? Would you like to discuss it? Let us, if we may, let's go into this very carefully, seriously, and not come to any conclusion, but observe the whole phenomenon of selfishness. Perceive the totality of it. So let us go slowly into it and hesitantly. And therefore not come to judgment, opinions, conclusions. Is that all right? So that we can slowly go into it. It's a very important and rather interesting question, this, because if we can go into it very deeply, perhaps we shall understand all other problems involved. First of all, is one aware of the stream of selfishness in which one lives, in one's daily life? You are? One is aware, not condemn it, not evaluate it, not rationalize it, just to be aware that one lives in this conditioning. I know, the lady says, I can only see my point of view. We are going to go into that presently. Please, first, lentamente, slowly, let's go into it. What is perception? What is seeing? I see you sitting there, and you see me sitting up here. There is visual perception, sensory seeing, right? That sensory seeing is transmitted to the brain, and it responds according to its conditioning. Be simple about it, don't complicate it. I see that red dress or shirt. I see it visually. Then it is communicated through visual perception to the brain. The brain which says that it's red, it says I don't like red or I like red. Right? Wait, slowly, don't be, it may be obvious, but go on into it. You will see how complex it becomes. So, the appreciation or the depreciation of red is conditioned by the culture, by the society, by my pleasure and so on. So, my response is according to my conditioning. Right? That's simple enough. So, I am always perceiving, seeing things according to my opinion, my judgment, my conditioning, the conditioning being social, environmental, ethical, cultural, and also my own pleasures, fears, and so on. All that is my conditioning. Through that conditioning, I see. That's simple. Now, wait a minute. Am I aware of this process? aware in a sense, conscious. Am I conscious that I am responding to things according to my conditioning? Huh? Or is one aware of this? As an American, Catholic, Protestant, Communist, Socialist, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever it is. So that's the first thing, isn't it? No? Are you aware of it? Yes? Now, what do you mean by being aware of it? Are you aware of it as an outsider looking in? Or you are aware of it directly?
One is aware of it directly, doesn't one stop immediately to react?
We're going to find out. Let's go step by step. Am I aware of my conditioning and the responses of those conditioning, which I call my temperament, my idiosyncrasy, my opinion, my judgment? Am I aware of this? Or I am aware of it because you are telling me of it. You are telling me about it. Therefore, I am aware of it. Vous avez compris? There are two states, isn't it? I tell you about it, and then you acknowledge what I say, and then say, yes, I am aware of it. Or you are aware of it for yourself without my telling you. The two states are entirely different. Which is it? If the speaker didn't point it out, then it's your own. It is direct awareness. But if the speaker points it out, and then you become aware of it, it is through the stimulation of the speaker. And therefore the stimulation fades and you are lost. Right? Is this one thing? Now, am I aware, without your telling me or indicating, that my whole response to life is according to my conditioning? And if I am aware, who is it that is aware? The observer? And when the observer is aware, then there is a process of duality. The observer and the observed. Right? Is that what's going on with you? Go on, sir.
I am aware just from afar.
You are aware just for a moment?
Yes. No, and just from afar.
Huh?
Not from whole.
No, all right, sir, doesn't matter. You are just aware partially, or you are aware of something. You are aware of the tent, you are aware of the people sitting here, you are aware of your response to the colors, to the proportions of the tent, to the sky, and so on. Now, is your awareness, is in that awareness a division as the observer and the observed? Begin slowly, don't talk about the whole.
Isn't the suffering by this token able
we're going to go into that, madam. First see how our minds work, how we respond. That is, I'll begin again. I am aware, I am conditioned. I am aware that I am conditioned because I've been told, or I am aware that it is a fact, a reality. It is so. Right? It is so. And next question is, am I observing that conditioning as an observer, watching a tree, a car, the street? Or there is no observer but only that state of conditioning? Vous avez compris? It gets a bit more complicated, doesn't it? No? It'll get much more avanti. You hope so. So which is it? Am I aware, are you aware, looking in from the outside, or you are inside? See the difference?
I find that there is division, because when I am aware of myself being conditioned, it is usually because I am aware of the past. Something has just happened, and I look back on it, and I see it, because now it's me looking at the thing. But when I can't try and be aware.
So,
Trying to be aware.
are you looking at the present through the past? The past is the observer, isn't it? The memories, the remembrances, the hurts, the pains, the conclusions, all that is stored up in the brain, right? And that brain responds. And it responds according to the accumulated knowledge of pains and all the rest of it. Right? So, are you observing from the past, or is there only observation? You've understood? Please, be simple about this.
Sir, as I sit here, I'm listening to you, and I have the sense organ in the ear to hear you with. I don't have the sense organ to bridge the gap between the words that you say, even the intention, and whatever meaning the communion behind it, and that state of understanding. There's no intermediary.
I'll show it to you, sir. See how complicated it's becoming? First of all, let's be clear that the word, the description, the explanation is not the thing, right? Just go slow. The word tent is not the tent. I can describe the tent. I can describe the various colors. But the colors, the tent, are not the words, are not the description. Right? The explanation is not the explained. That must be very clear. Right? So the word is not the thing. So when I use the word suffering, that is an explanation, a word that contains all other factors, which we just now said. But this word suffering is not its content. Right? Please, Avanti, we'll stop. So, The word is not the thing. Am I aware of the word? Because I listen to it. And I am also aware, am I aware that the word is not the reality? Oh, come on. Huh? And am I looking from the past, from my remembrances, from my hurts, from my conclusions, from my hopes, which is the past? So, am I looking with the knowledge of the past? Am I aware that I live in the stream of selfishness? You got it? Are you beginning to understand this? Sir, please, this needs discipline. You understand discipline in the sense listening with attention and going on, not dropping in the middle of it and pick it up later. Right? So am I aware that I am looking from the past at this stream of suffering in which we live? This stream of selfishness, which is our daily occupation. Are you aware of it?
I'm aware intellectually only.
That means you are aware, as the gentleman points out, information, that is words. You are only aware of the words, not of the fact. The fact being that which is. That which is the truth. So, I am looking at the fact through a verbal description, and the verbal description is not the fact. Right? So, there is a lack of communication between you and the speaker. He wants to go much beyond the word, beyond the information, beyond the knowledge, and you say, I can't do it. So, which means words have become tremendously important. Right? For a Christian, the cross has become tremendously important. For a Hindu, it's something else. The cross, the symbol, the word, he is a prisoner to that. And is he aware of that prison? Huh? Come on. Yes, sir, I've explained that. It's part of culture, part of your religion, part of your ethics, part of your economic condition, part of your clothes, part of your climate. I've explained all that. Just a minute, sir. Just a minute. Go into this slowly, please. Are you aware that you are caught in words? That you are a prisoner of words? The word communist, you shiver if you're a capitalist. And if you're a communist, then capitalist is something dreadful. So on and on. Are you aware how we respond to words?
Didn't you say that awareness is, you can get awareness in solitude?
No, I'm not, please madam, I'm not talking of,
I don't understand this.
I am not talking of solitude, I am talking about matter-of-fact things. And then we can go much further. If you don't understand it, then further you go, it becomes a sheer nonsense, a verbal illusion. So, are you clear that we are prisoners of words?
Sir, but there's another factor of words, that fundamentally I organize my reality around
I understand that. So,
Where does that organization, that factual memory, where is it picked up by thought? How can I see where it's picked up?
have you understood my first question, sir, before you take up your question? Not hope so. When I'm drowning, I want to be saved. I can say, well, I hope I'm going to be saved. Now this becomes a play. I want to find out what this whole process of living is. Do we live at the verbal level, at the level, and if you have noticed something very interesting, all the books in the European world are printed from right to left, which is linear, and Chinese, Japanese up and down. Now, we think along that line, linear line, because we're used to reading books that way. So our thinking is also that line, and therefore it's very superficial. We are caught in the superficiality of words. When the tyrants use the word, like the dictators, like the communists, democratic proletarian state is sheer nonsense. We are caught in these words. So please, are you aware that we are prisoners of words?
I found one.
Come on. What? No, please, I am not jumping from one. Are you conscious? Do you know? Do you recognize? Is it shown to you that we live as prisoners of words? That's all I'm
Well, it's a hard thing to say prisoners of words because we're using words to express ourselves ever since we've been. So it's our way of communicating. We are conditioned, okay? And
not okay. I don't.
I mean, that's a fact.
It's a fact, but am I aware of it? All right, let's move from there. If you are aware of it, then words are necessary to communicate, but words don't block you. I mean, I don't shouldn't. Don't. You see how, again, we play with words. Let's go further. Am I aware of my conditioning? Condition being cultural, religious, economic, the school, education, all that. Am I aware that my brain, from which I respond, am I aware of this conditioning? Please, madam, vous savez, écoutez, I am talking about something else, you are talking about something else. I am asking you, do you recognize these trousers as blue? And I'm saying, do you recognize that your minds, your brains are conditioned? Now, just let me go slow. Is it please do listen to this. This is really important. are you aware that you are conditioned? If you say yes, are you aware as a description, aware of the description or the reality of it? You understood? You hear the description and then you say, yes, I am aware of the description, but not the reality, which is my conditioning. So which is it?
I find that when if something has just happened to me and it arouses a response, a conditioned response in me, and then I look at it, if it has just happened to me, I can see it. I can see it intellectually and I can see it, I can perceive it emotionally, and I can really see it. But when I try and look at something which is deeper, which is more into the past, then the emotional perception falls away.
Sir, I'm not your Sir, when I described to you the tent, the structure of the tent, are you aware of the description or the actuality? That's all. Don't bring emotions and all the rest. Are you aware of the description of the tent or the tent itself? That's very simple, sir. I look up and see the tent. It's not complicated. So, am I aware of my conditioning or the description of the conditioning? Oh, this is so simple, no, Lascia. Which means I look at my conditioning, not the description. Description can be thrown away. I look at my conditioning. Now, proceed then. How do I look at that conditioning? Am I looking at it from the outside, or I am that conditioning? Is that compris? You have understood? So the description has led me to the realization I am that. So the description has gone. So I am now living with the reality of that conditioning, because I am that conditioning. There is no observer saying, I am conditioned. I am that. Right? Right? Is this clear? Can we proceed from there? Now, that conditioning is the result of my parents, the society I live in, the education, climate, etc. All that is I am that. Now, how do I look at it? How do I perceive it? As an observer looking in, or there is no observer, but only a fact? Now I'll show you. There is this fact, which is the microphone. I can look at it without naming it. Right? It is there. And I call it microphone in order to communicate to you. Because we both have agreed to call it microphone, not a giraffe. So it's very simple. Now, I look at, there is an observation of that conditioning without the word, without an observer from the outside. I am that. Can we proceed from there? So it takes a long time. So, that conditioning is, we called it selfishness, right? We called it selfishness. Huh? The word selfishness is already a judgment. Watch this carefully. The word selfishness is condemnatory, evaluated. But we said, please, you don't listen. We said that word includes everything. Judgment, evaluation, suffering, pain, everything is included in that word. And I use that word to communicate it with you. That's all. I'm not using that word as a condemnation. You may translate it and say you are using it as a word to condemn it. I am not. I'm just describing it. Right? Shall we proceed further? Now, human beings right throughout the world, whatever their position, whatever their status, whatever their culture, whatever their political points of view, economic, so on, live in this stream. Right? From the highest to the lowest. Right? Whether it's in India, Russia, America, China, this is the mainstream, the essence of human suffering, human greed, we are not condemning it, we are pointing it out. And this is the stream in which we are caught. We live, right? We are born in this stream. We are born in it, we are nurtured in it, we are sustained in it by society, everything. Now, the question then is, please listen, am I aware of this stream? Not the description, but the reality. That I am selfish. Right? That all my actions revolve round the center of suffering, center of selfishness. Are you aware of it? Or do you say, yes, I live like that? Yes. Would you explain, sir? You heard it. What did she say?
That if one sees that fact, isn't one automatically engaged in politics in order to give everyone the same chance?
We're not going to what to do yet. We'll come to that, madam. We'll come to find out presently what to do. That's the question. He asked, being caught in this stream of selfishness, if one can step out of it, then what is that human being to do in the world of reality? In the world of reality being politics, religion, all that. So, are you aware, conscious, know that you live in this stream? I am not condemning the stream. I am not saying it is wrong or right. This is a fact. Are you aware of this fact? Whether you live in Gstaad or in a little village or in a capital, it is the same movement of mankind. Just Mr. If you are aware of it, what happens? You understand? What takes place in you? If all human beings, the black, white, purple, yellow, brown, whatever they are living in this everlasting suffering, selfishness, what is your response? No, what takes place in you? Come on. Compassion.
I get shocked. I get a terrible shock.
You see, sir, wait a minute. I'm going to point out something to you. I'm going to point out. Don't accept it. Just listen to it. When you perceive this whole movement, not details, but this whole stream of mankind, what happens to the brain? You understand my question? Before I have lived saying, I suffer. My pleasure, my pain, my anxiety, my position, me first and everybody held to afterwards. So you suddenly realize you are like everybody else. You may be a little more clever, but the same suffering, the same anxiety, the great pressures of it, and so on. What? It is a tremendous jolt to the brain, isn't it? No? No, but watch it. Please listen to what I'm saying. You're already going ahead of me. Before, I lived in a little circle. And the brain had the habit of living in that circle. The brain accepted that circle. And it said, I must adjust myself to this circle, to this suffering, to this selfishness, because in that I'm secure. And somebody comes along and says, look, this is happening to everybody. And you get a shock, don't you? Now, when you perceive this, the brain cells themselves undergo a change. You see, now it's getting complicated. See, please.
So resist change because of fear.
No, sir, just a minute. I am accepted fear. I have lived in fear, like millions and millions of people. They have accepted suffering, like millions and millions of people. They have accepted anxiety, pleasure, death, everything. And the brain has conditioned itself to that. Right? And you come along and tell me, look, my friend, this is happening to everybody. Whether they live in India, Japan, China, Russia, under tyrannies, under democracies, whatever it is, or neo-communist, whatever it is, this is happening to every human being. If you are at all sensitive, awake, it must affect the brain cells. So the brain, which has accepted, which has become habituated, gets a shock, a jolt. And that jolt brings about a change, a transformation in the cell itself. So you look at the whole thing totally differently. Oh my God, say move. Now let's proceed. So I'm aware that every human being in the world goes through this horror, this selfishness. And is it possible for a human being to step out of that? Right? You understand my question? I am like everybody else. I've suffered, anxious, I want position, money, power, sex. And I want to be recognized. You follow? This whole phenomenon of existence. And you come along and point out to me that as long as you live in that stream, there is no solution for human problems, whether they're economic, political, religious, whatever. As long as you live there, there is no issue. And I say, yes, I realize it. Not verbally, it's a shock. You come and jolt me, shake me. Discussion, the root meaning of that word is to shake. You understand? To shake. And I hope you're being shaken. So, is it possible for a human being to step out of it? For you to step out of it? That means, do you see the totality of this stream? The whole implications of that stream, politically, religiously, economically, socially, as a person, as a human being, ethically, morally, the injustice of, the world is monstrous. So, is it possible? Do you see it as a whole, or do you only see it partially? Because I'm committed to political action and nothing else. I can go and talk to Mr. Wilson or Mr. Giscard d'Estaing or Mr. Brezhnev, if you would allow me. They would pay no attention. And since you are paying little attention, I don't say you are paying complete attention. As you are paying little attention, do you see this fact? As clearly as you see the tent, as you see your face in the mirror. Do you see it as clearly as that? That's what I mean by being aware of this tremendous stream in which human beings are caught. Now wait a minute. From that arises, that's the world of reality. That's the world in which we live. That's the world which thought has created. Right? We went through that. I'll go 100 times to explain to you if you want it. But that is the reality in which we live. And the question was, who is it that gets out? And is it possible for me to make an effort to get out? Do you understand the problem? All right, I'll go into it. I am caught in that stream. I recognize it completely. I see it, not only visually, but inwardly, psychologically. I see the whole structure of it, the nature of it, the brute, everything. Wherever I go, I see this. And I say to myself, I must get out of it. Because I want unity of mankind, I want a right political action, I want human beings to live happily and so on. So I want to live that way. So I say, I must get out. Then the problem is, how am I to get out? You understand? How? Shall I make effort? Shall I exercise my will and say, I won't belong to that? Or shall I run away and meditate, take drugs, play with communes and become a socialist, bomb thrower, terrorist, this and that? What am I to do? Come on, sir, discuss it. Go into it with me. Yes, sir.
Whatever I would do would already be based on my thought, that is on the past, on the whole reality.
So, what the gentleman says, whatever I do, please listen to this. Whatever I do is still part of the stream.
So I should get inactive?
Beg pardon?
So I should get inactive?
So I should get inactive, the lady suggests. You see how our mind go to the opposite. I want to do something to get out of that stream, and somebody says, you are part of that stream, you have built that stream, and your thought says, get out of it. So your thought is merely creating another stream. And you say to me, if I can't do that, what shall I do? Be inactive? Wait, and let's finish this question, sir. Do I realize, does my brain realize that whatever I do, whatever it is, join new religions, new meditations, new awakening, whatever I do, I am still in that stream. Because that stream is created by thought, and that thought now says, get out of it. So when I move with thought, I am still in the stream. I wonder if you see this.
When I see this, the thought of getting out of it does not arise.
Wait. When I see this, gentleman says, the thought of not getting out of it arises. Huh?
Does not arise. I'm accepting it.
You say you accept it. Wait a minute. Why do you accept it? You're not answering my question. Who is there to accept it? When you are that, what are you accepting? I am light brown. Wait a minute, listen to me. I'm light brown. And when I compare myself with you who are lighter, then I get dissatisfied perhaps with my brown because that's not so popular as the other. So, in comparison, I accept what I am. You're missing the point. In comparison, I accept. Why should I accept? Which is a fact. I am that. Why should I accept it? It is so. No, now you're saying yes. Before you said accept, I neither accept.
Never let them accept. I see
Therefore, there is no Therefore, there is no acceptance or denial. It is a fact. Now let's move next now.
So if I could stop doing and stop thinking, what then happens?
Go on.
So if I could stop doing and stop thinking,
What?
what will then happen?
If I what?
Stop thinking.
Stop thinking.
Stop doing.
Stop thinking and stop doing. Who is it that is stop thinking? You don't get it. Please listen to what I am saying. Before you have accepted that you could do something about the stream, the brain had been conditioned to the fact that you could do something about that stream. That's our part of our conditioning. You come along and say, look, whatever you do with regard to that stream is still in the stream. Because that stream is created by thought. And you show it all the process. And I say, it is so. Right? That whatever thought does is still part of the stream. Do I see that as a fact, not as an idea? Then, if I see it as a fact, what happens?
Just you must love.
Come on.
Just you must love and you must live.
What?
You must live.
Oh, no. Love and live?
The super. The
Huh?
Sufran.
Huh?
You must live the Sufran. You must go into.
You must leave the sufferance. You must go into the sufferance. The lady says.
We went into suffering. We went into the whole question of suffering the other day. In that suffering, there is a tremendous gathering of all energy in that suffering. I don't know if you have what it means, that you have suffered and there is no movement, either of thought, psychological, nothing. You are paralyzed. I won't go into all that now because it's a... So, do you recognize, understand, aware, conscious, see that whatever you do with regard to that stream is still within the stream? No, but you are all going ahead of me. Do you see this? Do you see the truth that whatever you do in that stream or with regard to that stream is still part of the stream? Do you see the truth of it? Comment?
The desire to get out of the stream of suffering or selfishness, is that not also an action of thought?
Of course. I said, whatever you do. Before I made efforts. I said, I mustn't be selfish. I must devote my life to God. Or I must serve others. Or I must help others. I said, no, I must retire from this monstrous world and go into a monastery. And I said to myself, I must take drugs. I've never taken drugs. I must take drugs. I must take drink. I must do this. I must do that. Always action within that stream. And you come along and say, look what you're doing. Don't be silly. Don't be an ass. Look what you're doing. What you are doing is still playing in the stream. Whatever you do. Become a Catholic, go to Japan to learn Zen, etc., etc. You are still within this enormous stream which thought has built, or which thought has time and movement created. Do I see it? Or am I still talking about words? If I see it, then what is it? What takes place? If I see the totality of that movement, politically, religiously, economically, socially, ethically, morally, the tyranny, you follow? Political tyranny, there has been the tyranny of the priests, the tyranny of gods, the tyranny of books. Everything is in that stream. Do I see that? Be totally aware of it. If I see the totality of it, the brain then has a great shock. And therefore, in that very shock, there is a transformation of the cells, which then is out of the stream. If I don't see it, I can go on discussing endlessly about this. Then, if the brain cells have shaken themselves away from the tradition and is free, then how does such a brain act in the world of reality? Now, have you seen this? Shall we move from there? There's another train, thank God. So how shall I happen to be out of the stream. There is no I. That's the main thing. There is no center as the me that steps out of the stream. When the me stepped out of the stream, the me is still the stream. If I see the truth of that, and therefore the brain accepts the truth, then what shall I do? I, as a human being, not I, as a human being, what shall he do politically? Right? Let's begin politically. What shall I do? What shall he do? Come on? Come on? Huh? Care about the others. The missionaries said that. They went to Africa with a Bible and a gun. Or rather, with a Bible, and later on came the gun, and later on the businessman.
But what is the point if you step out all by yourself? And the rest is the same.
There is no... How extraordinary. There is no yourself to step out of. You are part of that stream. You don't see that. Wait a minute, Father, I must go on. What shall a human being do who really has seen the truth of this stream? And therefore the brain cells have gone a transformation. And therefore they no longer belong to the old tradition. That's a fact. Now just either you play with this or actually live it. Then what happens? What shall he do politically? Wait a minute, careful. Is it political action, religious action, business action, economic action, separate? Or again, is it the whole thing? You understand? I wonder if you are meeting each other.
For me, it's necessary not to be attached to anything.
Not to be
Attached.
to the stream.
To anything.
Not to be attached to anything.
We went through that. We went through that the other day. Is attachment love? When you are attached, can you love? Silence. No, just words. Huh? So, face the fact that when you are attached, there is no love. Because attachment implies dependency, fear, jealousy, anxiety, a sense of loss, and therefore hate the person, all that you call beautiful love. And you say, no, that's not really love, but we go on that way. That's part of the stream. Madam, écoutez, either you see the reality, no, don't just accept it. It is so. Then move from there. Attachment to the country, attachment to an idea, attachment to a conclusion, attachment to a belief, attachment to a principle are all the same. They still belong to the stream. So I'm saying, what shall a man do when he is no longer selfish? How shall he act politically? How shall he act in relationship with each other, man and woman? How shall he act with regard to labor? You follow? What shall he do? Huh? That's right. You don't know. Right? So what are you playing with? Huh? Je n'ai pas compris, mesdames. You cannot stop being in the stream?
No, he acts as a whole in the instant.
Oh, that's just a theory. I'm fed up with theories.
He is not a
Madam, I'm fed up with theories. That's been filled my mind with theories, with speculations. That has been the game of tradition. I said, all that is part of suffering. I don't want to play with words, with theories.
You misunderstood what the lady said. She said the person who is like that will act at the instant, will not project before, will not plan.
How does she know?
Well, she acted right now. I just
And that's just a theory. What is this? I'm pointing out to you, madam. You are speculating on something which has no value. A man who will step out of it will not be, will act differently. It has no meaning. I'm still in the stream. I want to find out how to get out. So I can only remain with the fact that we live in this stream and we cling to it. We mesmerize ourselves that it is a marvelous stream. That stream is love, attachment, and so on. I live in that. And anything beyond that, any hope, is mere speculation. And I say to myself, please, don't speculate. Because I'm hungry, don't give me words, the menu of a marvelous dinner. I want to be fed. Si, allez, dites-moi en français.
La douleur physique et psychique dépasse l'endurance et les thérapeutiques médicales. Est-ce qu'il y a l'obsession du suicide, de la disparition?
We depend so much on the physical. Our whole structure and thought and psychology is based on the physical condition. Vous avez compris? Translated, sir. And so, the physical becomes extraordinarily important. Right? The physical pleasures, the physical observance, physical comfort, physical satisfaction, physical stimulation, and so on, so on, so on. But we don't realize also that thought is a physical phenomenon and a chemical process. So thought is a physical and chemical process as the organism is. So it's not separate. If you see this, then quite a different action takes place between the physical and the psychological. That if I see the whole structure, how the physical depends on food, clothes, shelter, and for that security we will do anything, kill anybody. Wars. And psychologically, which is the movement of thought in time, is part of the process of the physical as thought, which is chemical. So the whole structure is physical and chemical. And that has created this tremendous stream of selfishness. Is one aware of this extraordinary process? How we divide the physical, the psychological, the spiritual, the businessman, the politician, the artist. You follow? All movement of the fragmentary process of thought. Is he an artist? as we explained, the word art means to put everything in its right place, where it belongs. That's the meaning of that word. Is the artist creative when he lives a disorderly life? You work it out, sir. Is he a religious man who believes? Is such a believer a religious man? Or is religion something outside the world of reality? So, let's stop this morning. We'll go on tomorrow morning, which is, the question is one totally aware, cognizant, apprehensive? In the word apprehendere, which means to hold together, that we live and exist, act in the stream. This stream is the past, this stream is the present, this stream is the future. Modified through the present. This is our life. This is our reality. And we think we can solve political, economic, social, all the problems in the stream. And nobody has succeeded in the stream. The politicians play a game with us. They think it doesn't matter who it is, that they're going to solve the problems. So, are we, you and I, aware of the stream completely? And that whatever movement we make is still within in the stream. So, see this as a reality, as something true. Then you'll see that how it affects the brain cells. Because the brain won't accept anything which doesn't give it security. It has lived in the traditional world, which is the stream, and has accepted it and says, please don't disturb me, let me live in that stream. With the followers, with the gurus, with their whole business. And you come along and tell me, nothing whatever you do in the stream is going to free man from his misery. From his... Come on. Huh?
Is that true? Is that a fact?
What?
You can't do anything.
Is that a fact? Are the politicians doing something? To save you and me from sorrow?
Yes. What are you?
I mean, are the priests doing anything? Is anybody doing anything outside the stream or within the stream? Okay.
You say in order to step out of the stream, you have to lead an orderly life.
I did not.
Now, what is the condition?
No, madam.
Good and bad conditions. There's politicians who know that
Zeus.
being has to have proper conditions.
I've explained everything, madam. Listen, look. I have to live in the world of reality. Food, clothes, shelter, money. I have to live there.
That's a compromise. That is a compromise. That's the first compromise.
I'm not compromising anything.
You don't have to live. If you're faced
I'm explaining to her, sir. Most human beings live in that field of reality. And the problems are getting more and more complex. And they have not been able to solve it. They are getting worse and worse.
But don't you agree that the stream is different from one country and the other?
No, madam, I will not. I explained all that. I explained. Look, please. What is a human being to do, confronted with all these facts, that the politicians, whoever they are not going to solve the problems. They pretend. The religious people are not going to solve this problem of human suffering, human selfishness, nor the analysts, nor the psychologists, nor the philosophers. They have all tried for centuries. And besides, why should I accept them as my authority? They might be as foolish as I am. Why should I accept them? As cunning, deceitful as I am. So, I say to myself, they cannot solve this problem. So who will solve this problem? God? God is an invention of thought. Whether it's Christian God or Hindu God or the Muslim God. So I say to myself, thought is in action all the time. Thought has created this world in which I live, the world of nationalities, wars, brutality, and so. Thought has done all this. And I'm caught in that, my mind is caught in that stream of thought. And it can, whatever thought does in that stream will pollute further the stream. That is the thing I have to be sucked into. Then the brain operates differently. Right, sir. Tomorrow morning.